Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to this Spotfire tutorial brought to you by DataFuel. My name is Kyle Lamata, and today I'll be showing you a feature of the map chart that lets you plot points with pie charts instead of the standard map markers. The dataset that I'm using is public oil and gas production data from the state of New Mexico. In this example, I'm going to show the ratio of oil, water, and gas for each individual well in this field and plot them on a map to look like this. As you can see, instead of the dots for the well locations, we have these mini pie charts. If you want to download the step-by-step instructions for this video, check out my blog post linked in the video description below. The first step is to insert a map chart by clicking on the icon in the toolbar. So wait for the map to load, and let me zoom out a little bit so we can show where these points are positioned geographically. You can see that these points representing oil and gas wells are located in the southeastern corner of New Mexico. So if your points didn't position on the map, you can always go to the marker layer settings, click on the positioning tab, and scroll down to the X and Y coordinates, which is going to be our lat and our longs, and you can select the columns in your data table that have your coordinates. In my case, it recognized that the latitude and longitude for my data table were coordinate columns, so it automatically selected these for me. Alright, so we'll close that and take a look at our map. Zoom in a little bit so we can see these data points a little more clearly. And if you want to get back into those layer properties a little bit faster, you can always come up here to the top left, right click on the layer, and then go to the layer settings, and it'll get you right back to the same settings window. So the first step to marker by pies, I'm going to remove these size by selections. You can always combine size by with the pies, but first I want to get rid of them and make all of the markers the same size. Make them a little bit smaller so we can see them better. And next I'm going to click on the Shape tab, and you see there's these three options for the shape. We can shape with a fixed shape, such as a circle or a square. We can shape by column values. And the third option is to shape by pies. And this is going to make a little miniature pie chart for each marker point based on the columns that we select from these drop downs. So I want to show the ratio of oil, water, and gas. So I'm going to choose these three columns for my data table, making sure to select an appropriate aggregation method. So I've decided to go with sum, but we could also go with average. So after you select two or more columns, we see that there's this error message that pops up that says with multiple columns on the y-axis, column names has to be selected on the x-axis or used to color by, shape by, marker by, or trellis by. So to clear this error, we just need to come up to the colors property, select column names from the available columns, and this is going to put each one of our columns that we selected in the shape by tab as different colors of the pie chart. And we can easily change the colors of these individual pie slices by clicking on the little squares and selecting a new color from the palette. I'm going to make oil green, gas red, and water blue. And before I close this, I'm going to point out that you see over here on the left, some of these data points are plotting labels, but with this many individual marker points, the labels get pretty crowded and hard to see. So instead of showing labels for all markers, I only want to see labels for marked rows. That way, when we click on a point on the map, the labels will then pop up. So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit to see these points a little more clearly. And they're still pretty small on the map. So I'm going to go back to the size by properties and make the marker points a little bit bigger. Okay, I'm going to close that. And now if you want to see the labels, I can just mark different points on the map by clicking and dragging a box around them. And we see the sector size percentage for each individual pie chart show up. You can also drag around another points over here to see a different part of the field. But even if I zoom in, these labels are still pretty small and it's hard to read them. So let me pan over to center this up a little bit. But if I want to change how these labels are being displayed, I can go back into the properties, click on the shape by settings, and we see that there's settings down here for the pie chart labels. So I prefer to have the pie chart labels on the outside because it makes it a little bit easier to read. We also have the option to show the sector value, the sector category, which is going to be the column names that we selected in the sector size by, and also the sector percentage, which is going to be shown by default. So I'm going to turn on the sector category and leave the percentage on, and then close the properties. So now we can mark points on this map, see the percentages as well as the series name for each section on the pie chart. And that's it. That's how we use pie charts on a map chart instead of the standard markers. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this very helpful. For additional Spotfire tutorials, check out my blog at datafuel.co/blog, which is also linked in the notes below. Once again, if you want to download the step-by-step instructions for this video, check out the blog post linked in this video description. And feel free to leave any questions or comments below. Thanks a lot and have a great day.